All right, so this is the attunement for the empath with boundaries and compassion and holding the balance of the two. In yesterday's class, the mentoring class, it was all on learning the mudra that I described that the Buddha used to help halt a raging elephant that was coming at him, where he brought up his right hand that said basically, stop, here's my boundary. And the left hand was just, resting. A lot of people will have the hand resting in the lap or even just straight down, but it's this open receptivity where he was able to have compassion and loving kindness extending from his heart while he displayed fearlessness at the same time. And I use this as an example of a mudra that we can start using to help remind our brain state that as a highly sensitive empath, it's important to, yes, have appropriate boundary, but you see, I don't have a weapon in my hand. It's just an open hand saying, here's my boundary. And also being receptive and open-hearted and compassionate to what might be going on in the other person and in yourself. So the big question as an empath is, how do we keep our heart open without getting run over? And how do we handle the extreme sensitivity where we want to protect ourselves because we are so sensitive and not close down or get aggressive? So, there's basically two states. We've got protection and openness. And that's the balance that we're always trying to find the middle ground in. Protection can either look like anger lashing out, but it also can look like shutting people out and avoiding. So we tend to go into protection, in one of those two extremes to handle what we're feeling, or we go into the open-heartedness where we become codependent, a pleaser. We don't speak our truth. We let people walk all over us. We become a martyr. So that's the other end of the spectrum, where it's still a type of protective strategy, where you're trying to stay in connection, but you're doing it at the expense of your own integrity and your own alignment. And both of these extreme states of protection and openness result in our own vital force getting cinched off. We talked briefly yesterday. I'm just going to show this on the screen just to give people an image of our heart field being our major source of protection, right? So this is from the Institute of Heart Math. This is the electromagnetic field. And as an empath, we're always trying to figure out, how do we have boundaries and protect ourselves from others' energy? And I said, your biggest source of protection is allowing your heart field to be so big that it is just running your body regardless of who you're around or what you're experiencing in your life. And so, our ego protection would have us do the opposite, which this picture I drew for my energy medicine class a couple of years ago. And I described that we've got this pillar of love and light, this vital force that we sometimes cinch off that pillar by, can't even read it's just a scribbled drawing here, like a dysregulated, restricted energy flow. So when we close off our heart, we're cinching that off. Maybe if we're ignoring our own needs, we're cinching that off. So either way, what's going to happen is that this heart field is going to collapse. And when your auric field collapses, then you're more vulnerable to taking on energies, to running limbic protection strategies that cause dysregulation in the body. So how do we keep the heart field open? Well, that's what we're going to try to do in an attunement today. And I would recommend that we do this while holding the mudra, the Abhaya mudra. Like I said, I don't quite know how to say it. And one hand, your right hand is open, the right hand up, and you can either have it up and you'll see it up and even resting on the lap, so it's subtle, or you can have it, and sometimes it might be up higher. And then the left hand is just resting on my lap. So you could do it very subtly. You could do it a little bit more obvious as well. So that is the posturing. And I would recommend that when you're doing brain retraining practices of working with people, that you need to speak boundaries and also stay open-hearted, that you hold this posture, because it is an ancient posturing that has a particular way that it affects your energy field and your consciousness. So you might as well use it. And I know Falguni is going to be teaching us more on mudras coming up. So you'll get to learn more of that ancient wisdom through her. I'm not an expert in any way, but I do use them. Okay. So in this attunement today, we always have 2 points of awareness. We're going to go into, both into the protective aspect that we go into. And I want you to think of a situation where you tend to go more protective. And either that's going to be through anger and lashing out, or irritation, which is a protective strategy, or maybe shutting them out, which is another protective strategy. So I want you to think of a situation that you do that you activate that brain state. And we're going to work on coming into balance of what that might look like to be having a boundary, but without having to shut down our own heart field in order to put the boundary up. That's still, how do we have a boundary without cinching off our own life force? And then we'll go into a scenario where maybe you have went the other extreme of codependency, the martyr, the pleaser, not speaking your truth, being dishonest so that you like stay in relationship with the person, or you allow yourself to be walked all over, which is another strategy of trying to keep our heart field open, but actually it causes our energy field to go out of alignment. And it, like, to me, it almost looks like the energy fields start to spin in inappropriate, in the wrong direction. And it's like a disorganized energy field. Even though you're trying to be heart open, your energy field is disorganized because you're actually not in your truth and you're going against yourself. So both extremes of protection, extremes of openness will cause that electromagnetic field to collapse. And then that's where your vulnerabilities come in as an empath. Okay. So here we go. Any questions before we go into that? Okay. All righty. Okay. So we are just gonna drop into our heart center, holding the Abhaya Mudra. Again, if your arm gets tired, just rest it open on your lap. All right. Okay. So begin, let's just by breathing into our heart center, breathing a golden light into the heart and breathing out. And I want you to imagine just like that image of the electromagnetic field, which I'm going to pull up again. Just like this beautiful, big electromagnetic field. Imagine that that is you resting in the middle of this pillar of love and light with your heart open and expansive. You are just breathing into that heart center, and imagine trying to make your auric field, your electromagnetic field, as big as possible to fill the room. So you're going to breathe into your heart. And as you breathe out and exhale, imagine this beautiful field of love and light just fills the room. That's who you are. You're sending your electromagnetic energy all through the room. Breathing in again. And breathing out, exhaling, sending love and light all through the room, filling it up. And intending that you're going to keep your heart open, even in difficult relationships and in difficult situations. Breathing in again. Breathing out. I'm a pillar of love and light. Now, on the next breath, we're going to ground our energy. So breathing into the heart again. Breathing out, sending light from the heart down the spine, all the way down into the center of the earth. Connecting in with the earth. Grounding is first and foremost. To become an empowered empath, we must have our energy grounded in this body, in this earth. Breathing light up from the center of the earth, all the way back up into the heart. And then breathing light out the heart, out the top of your head, all the way to the central sun, to source, to God, and connecting into the vital force. Again, that helps your whole field to expand as you Breathe light back down into your heart. Just remember this image of this massive electromagnetic field all around you. You resting in the center of that field as this pillar of love and light. I am a pillar of love and light. I am indestructible, imperturbable, invincible. Nothing can actually happen to me. You alone are capable of keeping this electromagnetic field big and bright and glowing at all times, even with a raging elephant coming at you, as the Buddha demonstrated in that story yesterday, right? So now with this pillar of love and light, we're just going to go into the attunement. And if you would, just give me permission to connect with your higher superconscious self. And I'm going to connect on my end. Higher self, are you there? Just connecting in. All right. So, higher superconscious self, do you see this image on the screen of this massive electromagnetic field, this pillar of love and light, and the desired heart field that we would like to have as an empowered, highly sensitive being? Please anchor that image into the subconscious, teaching the subconscious that this pillar of love and light is the source of our safety. This electromagnetic field is the new program that we would like to run in every situation. And higher superconscious self, we're just going to also remind the subconscious of this mudra that we're holding right now. The right palm is up and the left arm is resting at the side, palm open. Just to give instructions to that subconscious, this represents the right arm having boundary, but no weapon. It's a boundary of assurance. And the left side representing that we're open-hearted and willing to witness those that we are in relationship with compassionate understanding. They're probably doing the best they can. And so this particular mudra is to remind us, how can we keep our heart open, speak the truth of our boundary, witness with loving compassion, just keep that energy flowing through our body at the same time while we feel all the feels, feeling the feelings while staying open. That's our desired future state. Now, I'd like you to bring to mind a situation where you go into a more of a protective state that's out of balance. So imagining, that right arm of protection coming up, and you go into an out of balance scenario where you're either lashing out and angry, or you're shutting somebody out and you're withdrawing and closing off. Let's just bring that point to mind. Bring that scenario to mind where your protection strategy ends up closing off your own heart field. Who is it that you close off to or lash out at in order to be safe? And just what does that feel like when you're doing that? How does that feel in your heart field, in your body, when you're running that protection strategy that's out of balance? When you have a belief that you're better off and safer by allowing the protector part-time personality to completely take over, shut off your own heart field, and either lash out or close down. Higher superconscious self, do you see this part-time personality that was created a long time ago to protect at all costs, even if it means shutting down one's own heart chakra? Higher self, please find the original event, the original memory structure that created that cross-wired pattern with the limbic system, causing the protector controller personality to take over and shut down the heart field. Bringing that into the active experience now. Please open up that memory file and let's make edits. Perform a massive change of history. merging that memory with the current timeline, showing that memory that we no longer have to go into that extreme protection in order to speak our truth anymore. It's an old solution made a long time ago to close down the heart field in order to be safe. Higher self, please exchange information with the adult main personality that knows how to speak a boundary and doesn't need to close off in order to do it. Knows how to be around people that they're uncomfortable with, but doesn't need to close off your own heart field. The adult main personality that can feel the feelings and handle it and speak truth at the same time. Let's exchange that information with the past and the present, merging timelines, rewiring the protector controller to give it new solutions. Higher superconscious self, do you see the wounded child? This inner wounded child that the protector is trying to protect. Higher self, can you show this protector controller that the wounded child actually becomes more wounded when the heart field is closed down? And it's not the solution. It's not the appropriate solution. Higher superconscious self, can you show the protector controller that this is not giving the desired outcome, because the wounded inner child just becomes more shut off from life force and from source light when we go into protection. And with compassionate understanding, higher superconscious self, can you show the protector controller that the highest and best way to protect the inner child is to keep the heart field open, to keep the adult main personality engaged that can hold on to that inner child and wrap it in love and light in the center of the heart. And that wounded child is better off and safer by having an open heart, speaking boundaries with authenticity and truth, and continuing to breathe through the heart center so that the wounded child can come back into its innocence, into its sense of okayness. That's the reason for the extreme protector controller. It's because we're trying to protect a wounded child from a long time ago. Trying to protect a child from having to feel all those feelings that hurt. And now the adult main personality can feel the feels. And the wounded child can just dance in the pillar of love and light. There's nothing inherently wrong with that child. As we quit taking it personally, we show that wounded child that there's nothing wrong with them. We might feel the feelings, but there's nothing wrong. And so now, holding up your right hand, I want you to show that wounded child in you that there's nothing inherently wrong with them, and invite them back into the heart, opening up the heart center, and allow them to dance in that pillar of love and light while the adult main personality speaks the boundary that needs to be spoken. We no longer need that protector controller to take care of that wounded child anymore. We're all grown up now. The adult main personality can speak an appropriate boundary and keep an open heart at the same time. Higher superconscious self, please continue to bring this attunement of I can speak a boundary and keep my heart open and allow my inner child to bask in its pillar of love and light, unaffected and undisturbed, even in difficult situations. Bringing in the attunement, I'm willing to feel the feels and yet keep my heart open and speak an appropriate boundary at the same time. Very good. Higher superconscious self, please allow any old energies and emotions that were released from this contact with the wounded child to be released down the grounding cord into the earth. And just continue to keep that heart centered open. Continue to teach that old protector controller part the new way, to allow the adult main personality to put that right hand up and with sovereign, loving authority, speak the truth and remain heart opened. And now we're going to move into another scenario. So, and with our left hand, with our palm open in our lap, I want you to bring to mind the feeling of what it's like when you allow yourself to either be walked all over, to be codependent, to be the pleaser, to try to keep connection, but at the expense of your own integrity, where you're actually building resentment, even though you're appearing loving. Who is that you do that around? And when is a time when you've done that? When that aspect of you that really wanted to not cause conflict became overactive, and you actually totally went against yourself. And you ended up creating a conflict internally, a divided mind, which results in resentment, inflammation, and a disorganized energy system. And what does it feel like when you choose to go against yourself just to keep the peace? When you choose to serve with the martyr complex? When you choose codependency over the discomfort of having to be maybe temporarily alone? Bringing that experience up, and how does that feel? How does that affect your body? How does that affect your self-esteem when you know you are not in your integrity and you're building resentment, just trying to make someone else happy or to avoid conflict? Higher superconscious self, do you see this brain firing pattern of the codependent pleaser, the other end of the spectrum? The out of balance other end of the spectrum. Higher self, please find the original memory structure that created this part. Open up that file and let's prepare it for a massive change of history attunement, memory reconsolidation. Higher self, please merge that past timeline that created that codependent brain firing pattern with the current reality. And let that memory structure see this healthy adult main personality that knows how important it is to stay in alignment and in integrity, because that keeps the heart field running. And knows that the truth is the most loving thing you can do is to be honest, to be open-hearted, to not take things personally, and to take care of your needs, your own needs first, so you can take care of the needs of others in an authentic way without resentment. Higher superconscious self, please bring in to this old memory structure, this old part-time personality, an attunement of a new solution and a new pattern that's being created by the adult main personality. The new pattern is the ability to hear other people's needs, to witness them, and to recognize that when they're saying and doing things that's hurtful, it's not about, it's to stop taking it personally. And at the same time, to be able to speak a boundary, to be able to stay open-hearted and to speak a boundary and to speak truth at the same time. Bringing new solutions in to the old part that wants to please, to do the trauma response of fawning, of codependency. So I want you to just breathe into your heart center and imagine being in that scenario where your heart is open and you're wanting connection and you're willing to stay in integrity at the same time and saying, you know what, this is what I'd rather do right now, or this is what I actually feel right now. And allowing a little bit of disruption to happen, feeling all the feels, not taking it personally, letting them have their response, and keeping your heart open at the same time. And recognizing that as you keep your heart open with integrity, you do stay in connection. You actually stay in connection, even if there's a disruption, even if you're in an argument, because your heart open, you have compassion for their point of view, you're not taking it personally, and you have your own boundary. You keep your heart field open, and that allows them to do the same. Higher superconscious self, can you find any family contracts that have created the codependent pleaser? that might have to be broken in order to bring in a new solution into this patterning. Higher superconscious self, bringing forward any family contracts where this was a learned behavior, that this is how you stay in relationship. This is how you love each other, by being codependent and going against yourself. Bring forward that family contract up through the DNA, up through the energy fields, and do a massive change of history, rewriting that contract to represent the current belief system of the adult main personality. I am better off and safer by being true to myself, by being compassionate, but by being honest with how I really think and feel. Just breathing through the heart, hand open. Higher superconscious self, do you see the part that gets a secondary gain in any way by being codependent, by being a pleaser? Secondary gains. It's part of that family contract. Please show that part that this secondary gain is not worth it. Please show that part what the heart field looks like when they go out of alignment in order for this secondary gain. This solution is just not worth it. Higher superconscious self, please bring in the attunement, the vision of the open heart field, and how much better and safer that solution is, of staying in alignment, in authenticity and truth, having compassion, but not being out of integrity with that person. True intimacy. That's what this part wants, is intimacy. True intimacy happens when we are honest with how we think and feel, and are willing to hear how someone else thinks and feels, and we keep our heart opened at the same time. Higher superconscious self, please bring in the attunement for true intimacy into this codependent part, updating that solution, updating that memory structure to have a new choice. Very good. Now I want you guys all to just, again, visualize your pillar of love and light running right through you. Your right hand is up, speaking that fearless boundary. The left hand is open and receptive and understanding the perspectives of others while not taking it personally. And your heart field is open. The pillar of light is running through you. I want you to see your beautiful, innocent child, your inner child resting in your heart center. And you see that the most loving and safe thing you can do is to keep that heart field open, where the inner child can just dance and play while you, the adult main personality, takes care of the boundaries and the alignment that you need to have in relationship. That you keep your heart field open, which keeps your body running, helps you to discharge inflammation, and actually helps the people around you to keep their heart field open as well, because you're calibrating, you're attuning your entire relationship structure. The best form of protection is your electromagnetic field of alignment, authenticity, understanding, honesty, and having patience for others to catch up to being able to do the same. Feeling all the feels in relationship and breathing through the heart at the same time. In this mudra, just remembering that, feeling the feels and breathing through the heart. I am okay. I am here now in this. I am grounded in my pillar of love and light. I don't need to close off to be safe. I don't need to be codependent to be safe. I just need my pillar of love and light. Higher superconscious self, thank you for this attunement. Please continue to remodel all the memories to catch up to this current timeline, to allow the new solutions from the adult main personality to be transmitted to these old parts, and to continue to just ground this teaching of this mudra into the energy structures, into the subconscious, to be able to come back to at any time. And thank you, higher superconscious self, for this attunement. Disconnecting now.